Hi there. So welcome to today's broadcast and another special Q&A session that we are doing for your preparation towards the ICA examination. So if you are joining the broadcast, you make sure you comment below with your questions. If it's a rebroadcast that you are watching to, you comment below with your questions. Any questions that you want me to cover, anything that you want me to discuss, I'll be willing and ready to answer all of those questions for you. So let's see and let's see if we can share this. Okay. So welcome to the broadcast today, and I'll be sharing with you some thoughts, some ideas on what you need to do and how you have to prepare yourself for the exams. Now let's look at the first how you need to prepare for your exams. So comment with your questions if you have any questions for me.
Okay. Now, so that's so the dog has beaten him. That's statement. It is taking the statement is about who? The dog. The dog. The dog did the action. Very good. So the statement is referring to the dog which what? Reacted, and we have this sentence.
Right, so comment below with your questions and I'll answer all your questions for you. Remember to share the video as well with your colleagues so that we can together bring many people on board and assist many people to prepare well for their examination. Assist many people to prepare for the exams. So comment below with your questions on anything.
But know that the Fed cannot be ask a question. The dog does not think. As the dog beating as the auxiliary verb, which is being used past tense. Always tenses. You know why it is used. But for now, know that the verb is the verb which makes statements. Ask question. Very good. Now let's look at an action from specific from someone. Or okay, the next one, you go around, let's do that. Now, the action, the sentence go, express a command. Let's say you go away. What is the verb here?
Right, so I want to quickly share with you a couple of things in relation to the exams. So comment below with all your questions and then let me answer those questions for you. Now, so today what I want to do is to share a couple of thoughts, a couple of ideas that I believe can assist you to prepare well for your examination. And one of the things that I mentioned yesterday is key areas that you have to focus on for the examination. So the big question that we ask is how do you position yourself for the exams? How do you strategize yourself for the exams? How do you study? So before any questions come in for me to answer, I will be sharing a couple of things about learning style, or what I call study styles that I believe you need to look out for. Study styles that I believe you need to look out for, need to look at it. Now, when it comes to studying and study approach, one of the key things that you need to understand is that everybody study differently. All right, people study by watching, like the way I'm talking here, discussing the video. Others also study by reading the thing over and over again, or solving questions over and over again. Other people also study by listening to the audio, or listening to an audio lesson to be able to study or prepare for the exams in relation to that. So the question is, as an individual, you must identify and see for yourself what is your strategy for studying. What's your strategy? You should be able to identify that. You should be able to know what your strategy is. So, what do you think is your strategy for exams? How do you study? Do you study by viewing, or do you study by repeating what you have learned, or you study by listening to people, or you study by practicing? You need to understand. But there are certain subjects that, whether you like it or not, they have to be studied in a certain way. For instance, when we talk about subjects such as financial reporting, subjects such as audit and corporate reporting, advanced taxation. Now, these subjects have to be studied differently. There are approaches that you need to go through. The way you study audit and assurance is certainly going to be different from the way you study management accounting. The way you study taxation is going to be different from the way you study subjects such as business law in level 1, for instance. So let me give you a couple of framework, a couple of ideas that will guide you to be able to prepare, to be able to design your own study style that will work best for you, so that you can increase the chances of positioning yourself for the examination. So the major question people ask themselves is that, okay, Nhyira, what is the best approach? What is the best strategy for me to study? How do I study? How do I prepare myself for the exams? What do I need to do? What don't I have to do? Choices here in relation to that. Now, so for instance, if you are learning financial reporting, management accounting, financial management, advanced corporate reporting, or management, introduction to management accounting, these are deeply calculated questions. Okay, these are deeply calculated questions. What it means then is that to be able to position yourself for the examination, it means you should be able to solve a lot of questions. That is where my success triangle comes to being here, because in case you don't know about it, I believe that there are 3 stages that you have to go through in preparing yourself for your examination. Okay, 3 stages you go through. The first thing has to do with the issue in relation to understanding the concepts. Okay, understanding the concepts. The second thing has to do with getting an examination analysis document, and then the third thing has to do with practicing questions. What we see is that many people go to the third step, practice a lot of questions without having fundamental understanding. some people also have minimal fundamental understanding and they don't have an examination analysis, so they just spread themselves and solve some past questions. But increasing your chances or positioning yourself in order to pass the ICA examination is not just about solving of the past questions, okay? So if you are doing financial reporting, you cannot read financial reporting. You need to practice. So like I was asking yesterday, how many questions have you solved individually on your own in relation to financial reporting? How many questions have you solved? How many questions, like as you stand, as you sit, as you are, how many questions have you solved on your own for the subjects? Chances are a lot of people haven't solved enough questions. And since they have not solved enough questions, they are not able to prepare well for the examination. So if we are going to pass the exams, you need to expose yourself to a lot of questions. Now we are left with some few days for the exams. So at this stage, the principles must be with you. You must understand the fundamental ideas about everything. If it is management accounting that you are writing, you must understand the fundamental principles. Accounting for material, accounting for overheads, absorption of overheads, overhead absorption rate, the fundamental concepts for short-term decision making, the fundamental concepts for preparation of the management accountant financial statement. That is using marginal costing, absorption costing, activity-based costing. You must understand all of the fundamental principles there. Then also you must understand the issues in relation to variance analysis, standard costing. So by now you should have those concepts. By now you should have those principles. By now you should have those foundations. Then you can now position yourself. Then you can now pause yourself. Then you can now begin to practice a lot of questions. That's the question. That's the deal. So the question is, how many questions have you solved so far? How have you positioned yourself to even answer a lot of questions? How many questions have you solved so far? If you just joined the broadcast, comment below with your questions, any questions that you want me to answer, any questions you have in your mind that you want me to look at for you for the ICA November 2019 examination. Just comment below with your questions and I'll be answering all of your questions for you in relation to that. So how many questions have you solved? Have you practiced or are you practicing on your own? Because if you don't practice enough questions, you will get to the exam hall and you read the notes to the question, you read a question and you are like, I've never heard this before, I've never seen it before. Now, that doesn't mean that you are going to be practicing questions that are just the same questions you are going to be seeing in the exam hall. But then it's about practicing questions that you are now going to find identical statements, identical scenarios in the exam hall. Are you getting it? Finding out those in the exam hall. So the question is, how many questions are you practicing? How many questions have you solved so far? Chances are many of you go for the lectures on Monday or you go for lectures on Saturday, and the next time you open the book again is the next Saturday. It means throughout the week you don't even go over your book. Throughout the week you don't even consider what you're doing. Throughout the week you don't even practice questions on your own, all in the name of business, schedule, work and others. Okay, so the question I'm asking is, how many questions are you positioning yourself to really solve, to really practice? That's the thing. So if we are going to pass the exams, it is not just about, I'm attending lectures. It is not just about, this lecturer is good. It's not just about attending an intervention class. You don't need an intervention class, really. Okay, there are times you think that you need an intervention. It's not about intervention. You see, passing the ICA examination is not about a one-day show. Are you getting it? It's not about a one-day show where you are going into the thing one day and then that's it. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so for those of you who have put your belt on and you have scheduled yourself for some one day show somewhere, yeah, you can attend. But note that the guarantee of the exam, of you passing the exam for that one day show, it's not certain. The only way you pass the exam is by practicing a lot of questions on your own. It's by sitting down and working on your own. It's about sitting down and solving a lot of questions, or solving as much questions as possible on your own. So the question I ask is, how are you preparing for the exams? How many questions are you practicing for the exams? Because this is a critical issue, and that is what many of you take for granted. Okay, that is what many of you take for granted, because you think that, when I do something small, I can pass the exams. No, passing this exam is not about doing something small. Passing this exam is not about being casual about it. Passing this exam is not about being normal about it. You don't do normal things and achieve success. You need to put in the work. You need to put in the effort. So how many questions are you going to be solving? How many questions? That's it. If you're writing a reading subject, like public sector now, it's not just a reading subject, because it has 60% reading and about 40% calculation. So if you are bent on just reading, then you are just lying to yourself. Because public sector is not just now about reading. That's what you have to understand. It's not just about reading, but it's about practicing. It's about practicing, and practicing a lot of questions for that matter. Practicing a lot of questions for that matter. So what I want to discuss with you, what I'm sharing with you today, is that you need to spend time by yourself, with yourself, under your own mentorship guide, and practice a lot of questions. That's it. The guaranteed approach, the guaranteed way, the guaranteed method that can cause you to pass the exams is when you sit down and practice questions. That's it. That's it. So you gotta sit down and solve as much questions as possible. Now somebody may ask, Nhyira, what questions should I solve? Yeah, you can go to the ICA past questions, look at the questions, solve some questions there. But also you can go to the ACCA, get some questions there. Okay? Because you get some very standardized questions as well from the ACCA website, acccaglobal.com/students manual, or just type in financial report students manual, or just type in financial reporting past questions, and you get some questions and practice them. Management accounting, you've got to solve a lot of questions. So today, all I'm sharing you today is that if you are going to pass the exams, if you are going to work hard and make this exam right, it is just going to be dependent on you, and that means you should be able to practice a lot of questions. Okay? If you just joined the broadcast, comment below with your questions. Look at the chat box. Put in the chat box any questions that you have for me. Okay, so put it in the chat box quickly, and share this video as well on social media, so we get a lot of people to participate and ask a couple of questions, so we can help students across in relation to that. Right, so that is what you've got to understand. Practicing of questions, that is key. So with regards to, if you just joined the broadcast, comment with your questions in the chat box. Hi Samuel, Samuel Quason, I see you. Hi there, hello. If you have any questions, put it in the chat box and let me answer them for you. Maybe watch some videos that you didn't understand something, or you just have a question about something you want me to explain further, or you are studying something that you don't understand. Put it in the chat box and then let me just read it out, and then I will help to answer it for you so I can assist you to prepare well for your examination. So first things first, as always, you must make sure that you practice a lot of questions. So I was also mentioning or talking about study style. So for those of you who just joined the broadcast, I have been talking a little about the fact that passing the exams is dependent on how many questions you solve, how many questions you're able to practice. But not only that, it's also dependent on your study style. So you have to identify yourself. What is your study style? Some people tell me, Nhyira, when I learn a little, I forget what I learn. When I learn, after that I can't remember. It will take time before I remember. Or sometimes I have to go over the thing that I've learned over and over again before it sticks. You must know who you are. You must know yourself psychologically, so that you can know how you want to study. Okay, so that you know how to study. Because if not, then you cannot know or you cannot understand what's going on in relation to that. So you must know what is happening to you. You must know how you are going to work on yourself. You must know how you can study. You must know how effective that you can be. You must know how you can actually work on yourselves to be able to achieve your goal, to be able to put yourself in the position to pass the exams. So two things very important. You need to work on your study style, and then two, you need to solve enough questions. You need to solve enough questions. Please, for those of you who attend lectures and you open the book the next week or the following week, you need to stop. It doesn't work that way. You cannot attend lectures and the next time you open the book is 1 week later. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't work that way. Okay? It doesn't happen that way. You need to study regularly. This thing is a regular thing. Every single day, or maybe 3 times in a week, you need to lock 3 hours, 2 hours, where you are by yourself, studying alone, undisturbed. Your data is off, your TV is off, everything is off. And you've got to be interested in relation to looking at that. Okay, so someone is asking a question. Let me look at that quickly. Could you touch on the threshold? Could you touch on the threshold amount for VAT registration? Is it 120,000 currency points or 200,000 currency points? Yeah, Samuel, threshold on VAT registration. This is let me grab a slide on this. I don't have this just off head like that. Let me see if I can grab a slide on that for VAT. Let me see if I could have this here. Alright, so I'm looking at this to just confirm it.
Stonewall is a great musician, right? Stonewall is a great musician. Stonewall is a great musician.
Okay, so let me see. As I'm opening my slide on that, let me continue to talk. So you cannot just attend lectures once in a week and then you become successful, or you prepare well for the exams, you need to have at least 3 times in a week minimum. That is my strategy. 3 times in a week minimum, where you spend maybe 2 hours each or 1.5 hours each by yourself and solve some questions or practice some questions. If not, then what are you doing? How are you preparing for the exams? How are you strategizing? How are you positioning yourself for the exams? Because if you study just once in a week, you attend lectures, that is all, then you are not learning. Okay? Then you are not learning. And that is what a lot of you do. That is what a lot of you do. 1 week to the exams, then you start to be serious. 3 days to the exams, then you start to be serious. If you go with that approach, you are certainly setting up yourself for failure. For failure. Because like I was sharing with you yesterday, and I've shared a video on this, last semester financial reporting, 80% of the students scored less than 40% of the marks, of the total marks. 80% of the students scored less than 40% of the total mark. And the first reason that the examiner raised was that students were not prepared and students were not ready for the exams. So most students are not prepared for the exams. Most students are not ready for the exams. And the reason is not because they are not studying. The reason is not because they are not attending lectures. The reason is not because they are not having good lectures. The reason is not because they are not having good books. The reason is that they are not really making time to study. So you need to make some time for yourself where you are going to study and look at the exams. Look at the exams. Okay, that is very critical. Tepo Isaac. Okay, I'm looking at your question. Yeah, so VAT threshold, this is for Samuel, VAT threshold. So the threshold is that you should have at least 200,000 Ghana cedis. That is the taxable supply within 12 months should be right. So the threshold is 200,000 Ghana cedis or more. But also the tax authority or the Commissioner General also gives a directive that somebody may also register for VAT if the amount is below 200 Ghana cedis, 200,000 Ghana cedis. So the threshold for the registration is that for 12 months period, your taxable supply should be 200,000 Ghana cedis or more. So that was your question, Samuel. I hope I answered you. So 200,000 Ghana cedis or more. Then Isaac Tepo, let me look at your question here. Isaac, let me see your question here. Isaac, let me see your question here. Okay, so Isaac, he said, please, I'm still using the old management accounting book for this up and coming one in the part 2. Is that okay? Isaac, yes, to some extent it's okay. To some extent it's okay. Right, so the only thing is that some of the topics have been pushed from the previous management accounting to level 1, introduction to management accounting. So certainly it is something that you have to be on the lookout for in relation. It is something that you have to be on the lookout for in relation to that. So yes, it's a good book. It's still okay for you to use, but use it in conjunction with the syllabus. Okay, so look at the syllabus, what has been stated in the syllabus, what is labeled out in the syllabus, and let that guide you in the preparation for the exams. Okay, so you don't just study. You don't just study, but you need to use it in conjunction with the syllabus. If not, then you will make a mistake. So I think that is the answer to your question. It's okay for you to use that book, but just use it in conjunction with the syllabus. If you just joined the broadcast, I'm answering some questions that you may be having. So comment below with your questions and I'll answer all of those questions for you. Samuel, I don't know if you can clarify. Are you writing principle of taxation or advanced taxation? Maybe put that in the chat box and let me give you some further guidelines on what you have to do. So let me know, is it principle of taxation you are writing or advanced taxation? Put it in the chat box somewhere and then let me answer that for you. So, so if you have any questions, drop it in the chat box. Let me answer all of those questions for you and assist you to prepare well for the exams. Let me assist you to prepare well for the exams. Now, so I was talking about two things before I jumped in to answer these questions from Samuel and then Isaac about your study. Okay, about your study. Please, if really you want to be in a better position, if really you want to pass these exams, I will recommend, I will advise that you prepare well for the exams. And the only way you can prepare well for the exams is to solve as much questions as possible. You cannot take this for granted. You need to solve as much questions as possible. Okay, so Samuel, I'm writing principle of taxation and public sector accounting and finance. All right, Samuel. So, if principle of taxation, I hope that by now you have looked at issues in relation to corporate taxation, personal income tax. I know certainly you've looked at issues in relation to tax planning. There are some few issues there. Then some issues about ethics in tax planning. There are some few issues there in principle of taxation that you need to look out for. Then I believe also that you understand the various allowable, non-allowable expenses. You must make sure that you get that very well. Let me just scroll down to the syllabus on principle of tax and let me see what else I can recommend for you to do. For public sector, yesterday I spoke a lot about that, so make sure you go and rewatch that video. Now, fiscal policy, you must it's just 5% of the syllabus, but it's quite huge, so you must spend some time also on that. So to increase your chances of passing the exams, principle of taxation exams, these are the areas you must really look at. Income tax liabilities, corporate tax liabilities. Okay, remember partnership, taxation of partnership is part of income tax. We don't tax the partnership business, but we tax the individual partners. So income tax liabilities, corporate tax liabilities, then VAT. So the question you asked about VAT that I answered now, you must make sure you know how to compute the issue about input VAT, output VAT, filing of VAT returns. All of these areas are critical areas for your examination. Then withholding tax is also a very critical issue, so you must make sure that you understand the administration of withholding tax and make sure you know that. I don't know the book you are using also for your taxation, but you make sure that you know how to deal with all the issues about withholding tax on goods, withholding tax on services, withholding tax on works and other stuff. So that is what I think you must look at. Definitely issues about tax administration is going to be there. The examiner can ask you the role of the Commissioner General, the role of the tax authority in public or in the economic development of the country. The examiner can ask you that question under tax administration. So it's an area that you have to also look out for. Issues in relation to penalties for non-compliance, filing of tax returns, VAT returns. All of these things are key areas that you have to focus on in dealing with principles of taxation. So some of these are what you need to understand. These are something that you have to look at. Okay, you said you are using Evans Agaliger's books. Okay, book on taxation. All right, so that's okay. Make note that I don't know if it is the updated version that you are using, but make sure that you use it in conjunction with the syllabus. Okay, all of these books were not written for the ICA syllabus. Okay, they were just written in general, so you must make sure that you use them in conjunction with the syllabus, so you don't learn things that are not in the syllabus. And also, if there is something in the syllabus that is not in the book that you are having, you just find out how you can get those materials and help you to study. So make sure you get the syllabus. If you have the syllabus already, that is good. So learn according to the syllabus. So go to the syllabus and take out the chapters in the book that are from the syllabus that are in the book, and look at those chapters, because these books are generally written for taxation in general and in relation to that. Okay, I'm using One Touch series. Isaac, One Touch series for what? Is it for your management accounting or what? That is Richard Amponsa, also Mr. Eric Amponsa, yeah. So even Samuel, that is what I think you need to do. So make sure you get the access to the syllabus and use the book in line with the syllabus. Okay, use the book in line with the syllabus. That is very critical. That is very important. Oh, okay, Isaac, you're also preparing for principle of taxation, and you are using One Touch series. Okay, that's okay. As I said as well to Samuel, it's the same thing. Use it in conjunction with the syllabus. Okay, use it in conjunction with the syllabus. So in case you don't have the syllabus, get the syllabus. So look at the syllabus and look at the various things that are in the syllabus and find out whether they are in the book. Chances are some of the things may not be in the book, or some of the things may be far explained than required for your ICA exams. So make sure that the syllabus guide you, so you use these books in relation to that. The institute has promised they are working on their own manuals for these books, which hopefully should be available from next year. So when it comes to principle of taxation from the syllabus, Ghanaian tax system is key. Fiscal policy is key. I've found that there are a lot of tax books that don't have that topic, especially fiscal policy, tax administration, income tax liabilities, corporate tax liabilities, the issue about taxation of gifts, and then capital gain tax, social security and pension fund, that is 5%. VAT, very critical, and then withholding tax administration. So check these chapters and look at the details of the syllabus and look at whether you are really having everything in the book. If you're not having everything in the book, find out how you can get those things. If sometimes you can reach to me, because I also have books on principle of taxation, and I give out summary notes every semester to students who are writing tax to look at key areas. So maybe you can also connect with me on WhatsApp. I'm going to leave the contact in the chat box to help you to look at that. Management accounting, Isaac, you are using Richard Addo. Is that for the management accounting? Maybe you can clarify that for me. So I just put a message in the chat box. That's 050-114-9296, and you can reach us on WhatsApp. And when our summary notes are ready on some of these papers, tax and other ones, we can make them available for you, so you can use them to study. If you are just joining the broadcast, it's a Q&A session. Comment below with your questions, comment below with your challenges, comment below with anything that you want me to cover, you want me to look out for, so that I can help you to prepare well for the examination. Remember, I created this channel not because of anything. I created this channel because I want to help people like you, help you to answer questions that you may be having, challenges that you'll be facing. Okay, so Isaac, for the taxation, okay. So as I mentioned, just use them in line with the syllabus. Okay, so you go to the syllabus. What is in the syllabus? Is that the same thing that has been detailed out in the book? As I said, these books are generally not written for the ICA Ghana. In other words, They are just written for general tax purposes, but if you are now using it for the CA exams, you need to narrow down and look at what is in the syllabus and use the book to learn what is only in the syllabus. If not, you'll be learning a lot of non-syllabus in relation to that. All right, Samuel, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure as always. It's a pleasure as always. All right, so if you just joined the broadcast, comment below with all your questions and let me help you to answer these questions for you. Comment below with all your questions. All right, now, so one thing that you need to understand is I was just a moment ago talking about your learning style, your learning approach, and the fact that, listen to me carefully, don't go into these exams without preparation. Okay, I beg you, don't go into these exams without preparation. Go into the exam hall with the confidence and assurance that you are going to write this exam and pass. And the only way you can have that level of confidence, that level of assurance, is when you prepare well for the exams. That's it. You've got to prepare well for the exams. You've got to make time for the exams. Taxation, it's technical area. Okay, you need to read, you need to practice a lot of questions, you need to make sure the core principles are with you, you need to understand how to prepare the taxable income, the taxable gain for companies, you need to know the difference between chargeable allowance, allowable deduction, non-allowable deduction. So you'll be able to know all of these things. These are fundamental principles, so please make sure you spend time, solve as much questions as possible. For those of you who are writing management accounting, solve as much questions as possible. It's very, very important. You cannot take it for granted, because if you don't solve a lot of questions, then you are not going to be in a position to pass the exams, because you will get to the exam hall and you are surprised about the question, like you're not really familiar with the terminologies, you're not familiar with the things. But when you expose yourself to a lot of questions, when you solve a lot of questions, then you're exposing yourself up, and that is going to help you to increase your chances of passing the examination. So that is what I think you need to do. That is what I think you need to look out for. Solve a lot of questions, practice a lot of questions, and I know certainly you should be in the position to be able to prepare for the exams. Yeah, so Samuel, you're asking a question. Could you clarify on the rules of domestic servants with respect to income tax? Rules on domestic servants with respect to income tax. I don't think I should have that off head here, but I could check out that. I left how do we call it? A number in the chat box, 05011499296. You can send me WhatsApp later on, then I could get that for you. I don't have most of these rules off head, so I'll just give you a copy of the document, and then I'll further look at it and then answer it to you.
Let's see the question.
So let me just see if I can get my slide here on that.
We have this term. We have the verb which is to embark. To embark on a trip, or to embark on a journey. To embark on a trip or to embark on a journey.
Okay.
So it's not saying that I'll be traveling tomorrow to Togo. They also say tomorrow I will embark on the journey to
If you just joined the broadcast, comment below with your questions. Thanks so much. I'll reach out to you on the WhatsApp page. Okay, Isaac, I'll be expecting to hear from you on soon.
I'll embark. So whoever is in the shop and you want to wish, you can say, I wish you a safe.
Okay, so Samuel, as I mentioned, you can reach me later on WhatsApp, and I could clarify that with you, or send you a copy of my taxation ebook, and that can help you to prepare for the examination as well in relation to that. So please make sure you make time to study. It's very important. At least from now till you write the exams, put 3 days in the whole week. Have 3 days in the whole week where you are spending 2 or 3 hours, whatever it is, with your book, and you are solving questions, practicing questions. Now, this should be done after you understand your concepts. Okay, you need to understand the various concepts that underline the subjects. You need to understand the various concepts that underline the things that you are learning. Once you understand the basic concepts, boom, you are in a good position to go ahead and successfully prepare and solve the questions and become successful. So you need to be in the position to be able to look at that in relation to that, because it's very critical. It's very critical. It's very critical.
So we are departing, consider to set off.
All right, so as I was saying, make sure you make time to study, and make sure you know your study style. Okay, nobody can determine your study style for you. Nobody can direct how you are supposed to study. You must know your study style. Okay, how do you study? Is it about practicing questions over and over again, or how do you do it? Find out how you study, find out how you position yourself, find out how you go about it, and find out if it's about practicing, if it's about reading over and over again. Go for it, do it, because that is what will get you to where you want to be. Okay, that's what will get you to where you want to be. So that is the thing, that's what you have to understand about it. Now, so I'm about ending today's broadcast in the Q&A session, where I'm answering questions and looking at various challenges that people are having, and looking at how I can assist people to prepare for the exams, and then look at how I can help them to solve a lot of questions in relation to that. Okay. All right, Samuel, I will be expecting that. I'll be expecting that. All right, so that is it for today's broadcast. Now, remember, if you are watching the broadcast, my executive revision masterclass is coming on for the ICA November 2019 examination. Every semester, I organize an executive revision masterclass for students, and it's a 2 weeks intensive masterclass, which is starting on 21st of this month, October, to 2nd November, 2 weeks. And during these 2 weeks, I spend time with students and assist students on a one-on-one basis. So during the revision session, or the masterclass, you have access to our online course portal. You will have access to our revision session. You will have access to a one-on-one session with me, and you have access to our examination analysis document. This is a very highly sought after document that many students request every single semester. And so when you join our executive revision masterclass, you'll be able to have that. The examination analysis documents provide you with key areas that you have to focus on in order to increase your chances of passing the examination. And also during this revision masterclass, we will be having mock sessions, we will be having mock discussion sessions, and also you'll be having that environment where you can be in a position to prepare for the exam. So If it is something that you will be interested in, it is something that you would want to join as our Executive Revision Masterclass, irrespective of where you are located, because we'll be streaming the Executive Revision Masterclass live on Skype. Okay, we'll be streaming live on Skype, our Executive Revision Masterclass, not on YouTube, but on Skype. So no matter what, irrespective of where you are located, you can still join us for the Executive Revision Masterclass, and it is just 200 cedis per paper level 1, 250 cedis per paper level 2, and then 300 cedis per paper level 3, and you are going to have access to our online portal, have access to our examination analysis documents, go through a revision session with me, go through a mock session, and go through a mock discussion session with me. Okay, so Samuel, you're asking a question. Let me see. What is your recommendation on how to go about solving preparation of final accounts in relation to public sector accounting? Do you deal with various computation first, or you write up a pro forma first? Okay. Samuel, thank you for that question. I think that's a very critical question. Now, this is my recommendation to you. Number one, always do your computation first. Okay? Always do your computation first. So make sure you do all your computation first. Okay, don't put any pro forma down. You don't need pro forma for anything, because it is not everything in the pro forma that is going to be in the question. And once you're talking about final account of public sector accounting and finance, computation has to be first, because how can you determine your taxable revenue or direct tax, indirect tax, non-tax revenue? How can you determine all that if you don't know about the various computation? So computation first. Okay, that is my recommendation, and that is what I tell my students, both on campus as well as online. So we do all the computations. I teach public sector accounting as well on campus. So we do all the computation first. Once we are done with the computation, you just lift the figures from your computation and put it on the face of the financial statement, both the statement of financial performance and statement of financial position. So that is my recommendation, to do the computation first before you go to the final account summary. That is my answer to you. Alright, so that is what you need to understand. I was talking about our Executive Revision Masterclass, as I was mentioning. If it is something that you'll be interested in, I left a number in the chat box, 0548769918 or 05011499296. You can send on WhatsApp, or you can call direct on that number and get you registered, and let's assist you so you can prepare well for the examination. It is my objective that I'll be able to assist as much students as possible. You know, every semester when I read the examination reports, the number of students who fail and the number of students who pass, it's really serious. So you're welcome, Samuel. You're welcome. So that is why I created my YouTube channel, so that I can make available material for students across the country so they can prepare well for the examination. Because if you look at the number of people who pass the exams and the number of students who fail the exams, it's serious. It's really serious. So that is why I created this YouTube channel, to provide you with that assistance, to provide you with this information that you require. So Samuel, you can send me hi on WhatsApp. Isaac, you can also send me hi on WhatsApp. I don't know if you are attending lectures for your preparation for the examination, but send hi on WhatsApp, and then we can talk about that, and let's see how we can assist you to prepare well for the examination. And our examination analysis documents for the ICA November 2019 is available. Okay, that is ready, and we'll be releasing it out from next week to all our students that will register for our Executive Revision Masterclass, all our on-campus students as well as our online students. So make sure that you stay connected. Thank you very much. I'm going to end today's broadcast here, and tomorrow same time, 4 p.m. sharp. Today I think we had a problem here, so we started the broadcast a bit late, but tomorrow 4 p.m. sharp we will come again live online, and to answer questions that you are having. So go back to your books, go back and study, go back and work hard. Any questions that you are solving, that you are having challenges with, you can put them down. Anything that you want me to look out for, you can put them down. And also, most importantly, from next week, I'll be teaching live. Okay, I'll be teaching live on YouTube. Okay, I've not done that before. I've been teaching live on Facebook. I think last semester I was teaching live a lot on Facebook, but on YouTube I've not done live lectures on YouTube. But from next week I'm going to start with some live lectures. So keep your questions coming in through the WhatsApp line 05011492996, and questions that you want us to solve, topics that you want us to discuss during that live broadcast. And I'll be teaching live in class and to help you to prepare well for the examination. My hope is that with these we can assist you so you can be in a better position for the examination. So thank you for joining the broadcast everywhere. If you are watching the playback or you watch the broadcast live, thank you anyways for joining us. Thank you for being with us throughout this period. I really appreciate your presence here. I really appreciate your questions, and I really appreciate your contribution for this stream, because without that we wouldn't be able to be here. I would just be here talking to myself, talking to the camera. So thank you very much for being with us, and tomorrow we will continue with the broadcast and we will talk about some other issues in relation to that. So bye bye. We will still keep in touch. The WhatsApp line is 050-114-9296, 050-114-9296. Connect with us, and then let's see how we can take this conversation from here and help you to prepare well for the examination. See you same time tomorrow, 4 p.m. sharp or 1600 GMT, as we continue with our Q&A sessions on how you can pass the ICA examination. Bye-bye.